I spoke to a doctor. I was like, I had this fight. I was in perfect shape. I trained for it. I was in fantastic shape. There's no reason for me to get tired. Why did I get tired? The doctor was like, look, you have so many other fights going on in your life, and it's the first time you fought after such a long time, and you have so much pressure externally, not just for the fight, but for the court cases and everything else.
Actually, just so you know, I'm one of the nice slave owners. I pay them far more than I have to. I even caught one of my housekeepers kicking the living out of the other housekeeper.
Right.
They're a bad person, and karma will deal with him. And I should have known better. When Clav and Nick said, we want to bring Sneeko, I said 5 times, I don't like him, he's weird. And I was proved right. So the lesson here is to stick to my morals and avoid pieces of he's going to have to live the rest of his life insignificant.
And maybe I'm just here to fucking suffer and get my ass kicked, and I'm going to do it all so I can give everyone else a fantastic life and give everyone else mindset advice. Nobody gives me mindset advice. Nobody helps me. Nobody helps me with my mindset and saves me when I'm depressed. No, maybe I'm just here to take a beating like a piñata and give candy to everybody else. Maybe that's what God's plan was for me.
Well guys, we are of course back here yet again with another brand new Alpha Male Universe update, and we have a really special one today because we will be talking about the fake alpha male wannabe tough guy that basically started the entire movement of fake alpha males that was later hijacked by people like Wesley Peg Watson and Bend Over Asshole. And we have the goober that was all about preaching how if you lose, then you're just a loser, up until the point where he actually lost. And then the entire little narrative that he was preaching just ended up suddenly changing to fit his situation. And instead of taking any accountability for anything that he's been doing, he has just been looking to blame pretty much everyone else and everything else that he possibly can. So of course, with that description right there, we will naturally be talking about Andrew Tate today and his generational run of completely embarrassing himself and just really looking pathetic. And the recent shit show for Tate basically started a couple of weeks ago when he just got the living dog shit kicked out of him by a YouTuber in the boxing ring and was out here in the ring looking like he was just trying to survive. And after receiving the L, instead of taking it with a little bit of dignity and just owning up to the fact that he didn't condition well enough and didn't prepare well enough, or just wasn't the better fighter, he instead created this very embarrassing video where he was coping hard as a motherfucker.
I got tired after the second round, and I don't know why. The first and second round, he couldn't touch me. If I didn't get tired, I would have won. I'm a better boxer, but I did get tired. Maybe it's ring rust. Maybe I'm too old. Maybe he's too heavy and he kept leaning on me. I don't know why. But he beat me. Napoleon is in the history books. He lost battles. Muhammad Ali lost. Tyson lost. Champions sometimes lose. Sometimes the stars just don't align and you just lose. And you have to know that and you accept that when you agree to take the risk in the first place. And that is the barrier that prevents most people from getting anywhere. The what if I lose? What if you lose? I just lost in front of the world. Got paid $20 million. I'm fine.
And as you can tell, he opened it up by dropping every single excuse in the book that he possibly could, with him leaning on him, or rust, or whatever the hell he wanted to say, before going on his little spiel about how champions sometimes lose, and how most people are even scared to try. Which, you know, is true that a lot of people do avoid starting things because they're scared. But he forgot to mention the thing that champions normally don't do, which is to start spamming the living shit out of excuses as much as you possibly can, which he then continued to do throughout the rest of the video, and was just unable to accept the fact that he took an L, but instead would rather blame him being on house arrest for 3 years like he couldn't have worked out at home, along with stating that the universe owed him a win, and that he was just owed this because of how much he went through.
Staying active till 39 is very different than coming out of a 10-year retirement at 39. If I was 23, would I beat Chase? Of course. Would I have beat Chase 3 years ago before the Romanians threw me in a fucking jail cell and forced me to sit in my house for 3 years for no reason? Yeah. Am I bitter? Am I going to sit here and cry that the Romanian government, the most corrupt government in the fucking EU, stole my prime years, my last years I could fight at my best? Am I going to cry about it? No. You can't undo moves in life. Tristan said to me, what happened? I said, I got tired. I don't know why.
You deserve that win. You've been through so much.
I said to Tristan, the universe probably owes me this win, you know? I've been through so much. God and the universe probably owe me this win. I'm going to train my ass off, but after all I've been through, they'll give it to me.
And at this point, it was already bad and embarrassing enough because nobody is just owed anything, especially when it comes to a sport of some sort, especially a combat sport. But he wasn't done. He was nowhere near done. Because after this, for some reason, the guy just starts fucking basically crying, bitching and moaning. Like, I don't know what influenced this. This was some shit you would see from a toddler, but the guy starts ranting about all the beatings he's taking, and about how hard he has it, and how no one's there to help him when he's depressed. And it's actually just pathetic. I think he came close to crying at this point.
Big bag of beatings with my name on it. Maybe my job on this planet is just to take a fucking beating over and over again, and just pay for everyone else, and give everybody else what they want. And maybe I'm just here to fucking suffer and get my ass kicked, and I'm gonna do it all so I can give everyone else a fantastic life and give everyone else mindset advice. Nobody gives me mindset advice. Nobody helps me. Nobody helps me with my mindset and saves me when I'm depressed. No, maybe I'm just here to take a fucking beating like a piñata and give candy to everybody else. Maybe that's what God's plan was for me.
Why did I get tired? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. The only thing that makes sense is that I was not supposed to win. Why was I not supposed to win? Maybe the win means more to Chase than it would have meant to me. Maybe Chase couldn't handle the loss. Maybe God decided, you know what, Chase has been through enough with mocking and things on the internet. Chase doesn't need the loss right now. Andrew can handle the loss better. Maybe God decided. Maybe if I won, we would have went out and celebrated that night, and Tristan would have smoked a bunch of cigars, and maybe he would have died 1 minute earlier. And maybe I get an extra minute with my brother because I lost. And if that's the case, then I'm glad I lost. You have to have faith in a higher power. There's a lesson in all of this. If God decides that for some reason he's going to instantly gas me when I was in perfect physical condition so that I lose, then I have to accept God's decision. And I'll take the punches in the face like a man. And I'm not going to bitch. Big bag of beatings with my name on it. I'm not going to complain. And maybe I'm just here to fucking suffer and get my ass kicked, and I'm going to do it all so I can give everyone else a fantastic life and give everyone else mindset advice. Nobody gives me mindset advice. Nobody helps me. And I'm not going to cry. I'm going to take it. God decided on that day that that's what has to happen to me, so I did it.
And he had basically wrapped this video up by giving some of the hardest cope that I have ever seen in my life, where he was literally saying that God prevented him from winning this fight because he miraculously just ran out of stamina, and makes this weird-ass example with his brother, all in a way to just not admit that he didn't train hard enough. Like, this guy is going completely against everything that he had ever said. He was making every excuse in the book for himself. He was blaming everybody else that he possibly could, including God at this point, and then had the audacity to say that he's not gonna bitch and cry after he just got done bitching and crying for multiple minutes straight. And I want you to keep in mind, this was the same guy who was constantly just uttering shit like this right here.
So why you're a loser is unimportant. I think binarily. Yeah. Winners, losers. I'm a very busy man, and I only have time to allocate towards winners. I do not have time to allocate towards losers. If you're a loser, I don't care why it happened. I don't care whose fault it is. I don't care how long you've been a loser, whether you're going to stop being a loser, da-da.
So with a shit show disaster like this right here, where he took an L in a fight and then just put on a display of complete bitchery, he was naturally catching heat in every single direction, and was pretty much just getting clowned by just about everybody, and was even getting clowned in any videos that he decided to upload. So with this in mind, Andrew Tate decided to make one of the dumbest decisions that he possibly could have, and he decided to hang out with Sneeko, Clavicular, and a ton of other alpha male goobers. So we have the dipshit squad here that decided to do a stream together, and naturally it took an extremely wrong turn, where they ended up even on the news for going around and playing a particular Kanye song. a Kanye song that involved a person from World War II with a very famous mustache, and a song that they played in the club and on their way to the club. And since this went viral and was all over the place, I'm not going to bother making y'all watch the clips of it. But he also had some other moments during the stream which were not good whatsoever. And they mainly came from when he was talking to Sneeko, where he was not only making some wild jokes, but was also basically defending the slaves that he has in Dubai.
He can hook it up. Like those are his people. So
Is it filled with your kind?
absolutely.
I ain't going there, bro. I'm not going there. I'm not going there, bro.
We don't want no blacks.
I'm not going there, no. Let's take Nick.
I'm trying to avoid us.
I still prefer Dubai, but not because it's more fun. It's because it's more boring. I prefer. I like boring. It's boring, very organized, boring. I like boring. Make money. Everything's organized.
No taxes.
No
So
taxes.
many benefits.
Yeah, I know exactly what's going on. I got all my fucking staff, my slaves, everything runs. It's good. Yeah.
Gotta be careful with the Dubai slaves. People get very upset.
Who?
Right.
Who? Give a fuck.
Fair.
Of course Dubai is slavery. The whole world has slavery.
Yeah.
Actually, just so you know, I'm one of the nice slave owners. I pay them far more than I have to. I even caught one of my housekeepers kicking the living out of the other housekeeper. I have 3 Filipino housekeepers. I call them the Smurfs. The 3 little Smurfs. And they're really nice to me. Like, hello, sir.
Are they blue?
Yeah, it's like the Smurfs. They're like, hello, sir. They're like little Smurfs.
They're great people.
They're great people.
Yeah.
But anyway, one of them asked to finish early because she wanted to go home to see her son who was visiting from the Philippines for the first time in 2 years. And the other cleaner wasn't cleaning fast enough. So I was in my room and then I heard all this Filipino. I was like, what the f***? And I came out and the Filipinos were beating the shit. It was like a fist fight between the Smurfs.
Pacquiao came out.
I was like, Smurfs, enough. This is a house of love. True or false? True story. The Smurfs had a fist fight. So, you know, the slaves sometimes get unruly. It is what it is. But yeah, I got slaves.
You whip them?
I don't need to. Because they know I will. So I don't need to. You know?
So not only did he embarrass himself with this whole little fighting situation, but he then decided to travel around with a band full of dipshits, where they not only played the most controversial song that they could have, but he then sat there on stream and defended slavery, which I have to say is never really a good look at all, and sat there referring to his Dubai slaves as being Smurfs, and stating that he's one of the good ones because he pays them more than he has to, which doesn't even matter because he still has them, so he's still contributing to the issue. So this just continued to build and continued to make him look even more like a pathetic dickhead. And since he can't take an L at any time whatsoever, as we have already seen with the fighting thing, he then decided that he was going to do an apology tour and has been featuring on every fucking podcast that is known to man on YouTube. This guy has been in and out of the works all over the place, with one of the more recent ones being a podcast with Bradley Martin, where he of course couldn't help but to talk about the fight, and couldn't help but to continue to give excuses about how his doctor just said that it was all too much, and he had already been through so much that his stamina gave out, and he's just playing the victim again as much as he possibly can.
You know, there was this after your fight with Chase, I don't know if it was a real tweet, but everyone's like, yo, he betted on himself to lose and he made a bunch of money.
No, I had this weird, I don't know what happened after the second round. I think it was like an adrenaline dump. I spoke to a doctor. I was like, I had this fight. I was in perfect shape. I trained for it. I was in fantastic shape. There's no reason for me to get tired. Why did I get tired? The doctor was like, look, you have so many other fights going on in your life, and it's the first time you fought after such a long time, and you have so much pressure externally, not just for the fight, but for the court cases and everything else. And you just had an adrenaline dump and your nervous system, you should have had a shorter fight or an easier fight for your first one back after 8 years.
Yeah.
And you just had an adrenaline dump. And sometimes when the adrenaline goes, your nervous system just doesn't fire the same and you couldn't fight. That's what the doctor told me. But I don't know. It was very weird. After the second round, I was saying to my coach, I don't know why I feel weird. I didn't feel tired, but I couldn't punch. It was really strange.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. But he beat me fair and square. And I'm not here to make excuses for losing.
And there is absolutely no fucking way that this conversation ever remotely happened between him and his doctor. This is some shit that he tells himself before going to sleep in order to actually get a full night's rest after getting exposed by a damn YouTuber. But on top of this, I don't know if he just doesn't understand how this works, but you can't give excuses and then say that you're not trying to give any excuses. That's just not how it fucking works. And it's something that he has been consistently doing. And along with this, they obviously discussed the topic that his whole little apology tour has revolved around, which is the fact that he hung out with the band of dipshits and played that song and ended up getting banned from every club in Miami. And he of course did what he's done with the fighting situation as well, and refused to take any accountability on any level, but instead looked for anybody else to blame.
Being perfectly honest with you, as for this ridiculous club event, I don't think it's gone viral organically, to be honest with you. I think that if I wasn't there, it wouldn't have gone viral. I think if Myron, Clav, Nick, and the other guy all stood there in the club and played that song, nobody would give it. I would argue they've done it many times before. They play it on their streams all the time. Nobody cares. It only went viral because I was there. And I don't think that's organic. I think that there is an extremely orchestrated campaign designed to make sure that my influence never reaches the level it was previously. I have criminal cases in many countries around the world. To believe that the constant, endless smear of me in the media is somehow organic and not an intelligence campaign is ignorance. And this video was deliberately pushed to damage my ability to defend myself in court. That's what I believe. They said, Andrew Tate is there. Let's look at the easy wins. One of the biggest people complaining on the TV is a Jewish nightclub owner. So he wants his opponent's nightclub shut down. That's an easy win. Let's look at the fact I have trial coming up in the UK. And if you say anything hateful, it has no free speech. So hate speech is an instant, quick, easy, bam, jail sentence.
Yeah.
That's an easy win. Like, this is an easy win for very powerful people to go, let's make this video big. And I didn't even complain that the song came on. I just stood there. I was like, oh, whatever. But I knew what was going to happen. I was like, this is ridiculous. Is it worth it?
Yeah.
But, you know, kids with streams, they need clicks. It's like grabbing your hat. They're children, bro.
Yeah.
They're just children, and they'll do anything for clicks.
Yeah.
No, you know, they're like, they're kids.
Yeah.
They're retards, and they're not adults with responsibility and things going on. So it is what it is. But it is truly crazy it got so big, but I don't believe it's organic that it got so big. I think it's been pushed on purpose. If you were standing there in my place, they could easily, if they decided to, blow that video up and cause your gym, the physical location of your gym, a whole bunch of problems.
Yeah.
Your landlord might be Jewish. Or he might not, he might just not want the press hammering him. He might just get pressure. You don't know.
Yeah.
And even if you own the place, who knows what? The mayor, the da-da. If you have real world, it's amazing what can happen because someone next to you thinks it's funny to get clicks.
And I have absolutely no idea what he expected to happen when he was hanging out with all of these dipshits and dumbasses. It's basically, if you play stupid games, you're gonna get stupid prizes. And if you're dapping up all of these idiots and talking about how they're your friends and your homies, and then sitting there with them as they're playing these songs while on the way to the club and while in the club and streaming the whole thing, then this is what's gonna happen. It's not everything out to get you or any of that bullshit. It's just you being a dumbass and hanging out with the wrong people. And how the world kind of works is who you hang out with is who you're going to be associated with. Now, I don't think he deserves jail time or anything stupid like that for this song, but he can be criticized if he's going to listen to this shit and then sit there and brag about his Dubai slaves. Because no matter what, it's just not a good look to be doing either of it. And he then goes on to continue to play the victim, which he is constantly doing when he's supposed to be this big bad alpha male, and just continues the yap.
Yeah, they'll put me in front of a Jewish judge and destroy me. I mean, it's pretty simple. I think they're going to do that anyway. I think my upcoming case in the UK is with a Jewish judge, and they're going to say, look at this clip here. And I'm going to say, I didn't play the song. And they're going to say, why did you stand with those clowns? And I'm going to say, but I didn't play the song. And the judge is going to say, whatever, it's 10 years, enjoy. And what am I going to do?
Do you think that's going to happen?
Yeah. 100%. Like, but what the fuck am I supposed to do when the song comes on? Run away?
Yeah.
Like, the song comes on and my brain analyzes the scenario and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then I think, you know what? Maybe no one will care.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the clip comes out and then I'm like, well, the song's been played by so many people so many times. I've discussed it on other podcasts. No one seems to care. What's the big deal? And then all these bots start posting under the video to pump it. And I'm like, what bot farm is being paid? to blow up this video.
And as you can tell, he's just blaming everything and anyone, including bots, apparently pumping up the video when that's just not the case. And he's trying to take the route of saying he's not the one who played the song, but again, he was actively a part of the group who was playing it and just going around being dipshits. And I don't know how he didn't expect something like this when he was hanging out with Clavicular, who's shooting himself up in order to looks max. And there were other podcast appearances, like this one right here, where he's trying to make it clear that he's not doing damage control before immediately doing damage control and going on another spill about how he didn't play the song and how it was all Sneako's fault.
I have no damage control to try and partake in. Firstly, because that's not how I operate. Secondly, I didn't put on the song. I actually think the lesson here for me, because I'm a full-grown man and I'm always trying to draw lessons from it, my lesson here is not anything to do with internet or what they think or comments or people's opinions of me. My lesson doesn't come from the song. My lesson doesn't come from the backlash, none of those things. My lesson here is to stick to my morals about avoiding people. Mm-hmm. There's a particular person in that group who everyone's saying I sold out. His name is Sneaky, and he's a piece of shit, and he deliberately did something to get clicks for his views, not understanding it's going to put me in jail. And why should I hang around with people who will put me in jail for their clicks? Would you hang around with someone who would do something which is going to put you in a cell so they can get views on the internet?
No, honestly, I thought you might be doing something to me when you were pulling up here, but now I know you're in here, I feel okay.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, that's just a piece of move.
Well, you guys have been...
But that doesn't make... that kind of person's not your friend. You don't owe them any kind of loyalty at all.
Right.
They're a bad person, and karma will deal with him. And I should have known better. When Clav and Nick said, we want to bring Sneeko, I said 5 times, I don't like him, he's weird. And I was proved right. So the lesson here is to stick to my morals and avoid pieces of... He's going to have to live the rest of his life insignificant. He was the one who put on the song. He's been the one kicking up a fuss ever since. He's the one who keeps, making these clips. This whole subject to me is boring.
Yeah.
It's been 12 days. Like, who gives a...
Right.
But yeah, the lesson here for me is avoid piece of people, and he can continue to make his streams and insult me and say what he wants to say, and I'll continue to do big important things in big business and be one of the most well-known people on the planet.
So apparently this time, instead of the bots, it's all Sneako's fault now, and apparently he's just a snake who caused him all of these issues, when he's the dumbass who decided to hang out with him in the first place. And I don't know if it's ego-driven or what's going on, but he just can't seem to actually take responsibility and just say, hey, I shouldn't have done this. That, or he just can't leave it alone and let it drop and ignore the situation, because he is actively making it worse with the damage control bullshit. He is making this shit way worse with this little apology tour all throughout these podcasts than the actual situation itself could have ever made it. Like, this is just self-destruction for no reason at all. And it's basically him just crying and whining about the consequences of his own actions. And he's doing it to such an extent that it's making the consequences worse. And he is still just going on to continue to do this. And on some of them, he even has people pleading his case for him and just blaming Sneeko along with him.
Why hang out with them?
Well, I haven't seen them in a long time. It's the first time I met 2 of them. It's the first time I met Clav and Nick. I spoke to them online, but it's the first time I ever met them. I hadn't seen Sneeko in a while.
You and Nick have never met each other?
Never met.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Never met.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the Braden guy, Clav, whatever his name is, he's new.
First time I ever met them.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest, they were nice guys when I met them. It's the first time I've spoken to them. I sat down with them, and I don't think they even put the song on. I have to guess. I think Sneeko may have put the song on, who I'd met many times before. But it was a long night. It was 6 or 7 hours in which, for 2 minutes of it, someone got a phone and put a song on. It wasn't me.
And it's funny though, Andrew, like, what's Nicholas Sneak? He's a grown man. I'm going to call him his real name. He's Filipino, Haitian, and his father is of Jewish descent. So on top of that, it doesn't make any sense. He's the Jew, so you're going to go to a town that's predominantly a lot of Jewish-owned businesses. You're technically Jewish too. You're playing that song, and then when you get in trouble for it, you're screaming anti-Semitism, and it's all the Jews run everything, and it's ridiculous. And I think in that sense too, Andrew, they use you, which I know you're upset. You have to be. They use you to play that song to be like, look who's with us. And you're right. I saw you. You walked right out, and even in the nightclub, you were kind of like, whatever, but I would be even more livid because coming from a guy that has a Jewish father, brings you in, plays the Hitler song, and then you're the only guy that's going to catch real flack for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, at this point, this shit is just getting beyond pathetic. And this guy's downfall is getting way worse than I ever imagined it actually could get. And I just had to cover all of this because you don't see self-sabotage to this extent very often whatsoever. But if you enjoyed, please drop a sub and a like and join the Saints Mafia, where we call out all of these grifting alpha males. And I'm out. Watching Andrew Tate continue to make his downfall get even crazier in peace.
And I'm not an internet streaming clown. I'm a genuine A-list celebrity. In fact, I've been told multiple times by many different people that I am literally the most famous man in the world. I've been told that. I was the most Googled man in the world, and after being locked in my house for 3 years, I thought, everyone's over Andrew Tate. Maybe it's all over. No one cares. I can't go anywhere. If I walk down the street, I am flooded in every city on the planet, everywhere I go. Like, I can't go anywhere. So I am literally one of the most famous people on the planet. I'm not some nobody streamer who can do these silly things. I have very important things going on. I make hundreds of millions of dollars. I have to work with all sorts of people. And some of them are Jewish. That's fine.